Hello, everyone. We're pleased to have you all join us. I'm Lauren Cossey, Scientific Account Manager at CDD, and I'd like to welcome you all to our Collaborative Drug Discovery Quarterly Product Update webinar focused on our AI and Curve modules. So before we dive into these exciting updates, I'd like to just quickly go over a few housekeeping items. For any product-specific questions, please use the Q&A tab in the toolbar. This will help us address your inquiries efficiently during our dedicated Q&A session, as well as answer any quick ones as we go. For all other questions, comments, or general discussion, please use the regular chat box tab in the toolbar. We encourage your active participation throughout the webinar. And lastly, if you would like to request a one-on-one customized demo for any of these features, we'll have a poll to easily request one before the Q&A segment. So today we'll be focusing on two significant enhancements to our platform. First one being curves. We'll demonstrate new analytical capabilities, including area under the curve calculations for enhanced quality control, improved visualization of replicate points, enhanced bell-shaped curve fitting for complex biological responses, and updated color coding logic for clear data presentation. Moving on to our AI capabilities, we'll showcase our deep learning integration, including rapid similarity searching across multiple chemical databases, Bioisosteric suggestion generation, API access for our custom QSAR applications, and our new AI support chatbot. These modules have been developed based on user feedback and research requirements, with the goal of streamlining your analytical workflows and accelerating discovery processes. Your feedback continues to be invaluable to us, so we encourage you to engage actively throughout the presentation. Thank you once again for joining today, and let's begin our product update journey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mel Berg. I'm a marketing specialist at CDD, and today I'm presenting our Enhanced Curves module. For those analyzing experimental data, these updates introduce significant new capabilities directly within CDD Vault, eliminating the need to export your data to external software packages. Let me walk you through some key areas where we've enhanced the module's functionality. First, we've expanded our analytical capabilities. The module now includes area under the curve calculations, providing an additional quality control metric, enhanced bell-shaped curve fitting parameters, particularly valuable for complex biological responses, and an expanded library of curve fitting algorithms to accommodate diverse analytical needs. Second, we've improved the data visualization. You can now view individual replicate points directly on your curves, utilize enhanced color coding logic to better differentiate between experimental conditions, and compare multiple experiments through interactive overlays. Third, and perhaps most importantly, we've integrated these features to streamline your workflow. You can access raw data directly for validation, generate reports without leaving the platform, and maintain complete data provenance within a single system. In practice, this means you can now progress from initial data collection to analysis and reporting, all within CDD Vault, ensuring reproducibility and maintaining a clear link to your source data. Let me hand it over to Janice now, who will demonstrate these features in action with a particular focus on AUC calculations, replicate visualization, and our enhanced curve fitting algorithms. Thanks, Janice. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janice Darlington. I'm an application scientist here at CDD. Today, I'll be stepping into the role of head of biology to search and mine data for an SOB meeting for the purposes of getting you more acquainted with CDD's new and maturing curves module. What I hope to give to you is a sense for how CDD Vault plays an even more crucial role in collaborative communication with these add-on functionality. Instead of working within the confines of data that stays static, there's flexibility to apply new knowledge to the data that remains fact with efficient tools at your fingertips in this one single platform. We'll actually do a bell-shaped curve review. Last product webinar in Q3, we actually introduced you to our bell-shaped curve. We'll talk about area under the curve, which is now available as a default calculated parameter on all dose response protocols, both the Hill equation and the Bell equation. We'll look at plot scaling when defining your protocols. You've got plot legends in the search results table that can be displayed when you customize your report, as well as the color logic that follows along with it as it applies to runs and conditions. Specifically for the curves add-on, we'll actually talk about these features to visualize the replicate data points, as well as to perform those curve overlays. So let's take a review first. Ralphie, in our last product webinar given to you last quarter, if you haven't taken a look at it, I would suggest that you go to our webpage, go back and review that recording. But here you can see with increasing concentration, we get a bell-shaped curve. We are going to report the left and right intercepts here. We actually also included a curve comment. Now, before we move on from this bell-shaped curve, let's go ahead and customize the report. Let's actually make sure that we bring in area under the curve here. As you recall, I just said area under the curve is now available as a default calculated parameter of all dose response equations, which does include that bell-shaped curve. We know that AUC represents the total response of a system to varying levels of a drug or treatment and can serve as a powerful curve quality control metric. So here is where our area under the curve is displayed. And for our data that comes by way of that 4-parameter logistical curve fit, we too can select from here the area under the curve to display. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll update the report. And here's our area under the curve. We're actually taking the connecting straight line and then calculating the area under the curve. If you'll remember, when we created that protocol for the ternary complex assay, we were looking to feed in concentration, luminescence, that was normalized against positive and negative controls. We then took that percent activation, reported it as a fraction of the maximum. And because of curves, we were able to take the concentration and the fraction of the maximum and use that in our plot definition to calculate both the left and right relative intercepts at 50%. You can also set a min and max here for your plot definition. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at it as we talk about my dose response assay. Here, I'm just going to give you a sneak preview. We know now that as a Vault administrator, you can come into settings, the Vault tab, plot settings to enable the Hill and Bell equation. We are bringing to you as well the linear and exponential decay equation, 2 more fitting algorithms for your data. Now, in terms of curve comments, you can create a pick list of curve comments to now annotate your curves. These are what I have available for my Hill equation, Bell equation, linear equation. I have yet to create anything for this exponential decay equation. As I said, Hill and Bell equation are available to you today. Soon made to be available are the linear and exponential decay equations. Now let's take a look at my traditional 4-parameter logistical curve fit dose response assay that comes by way of a cell viability assay. Here I've got cell line set as a condition. I have concentration and OD, so numerical values that I'm going to load into the system that will now feed into my EC50 calculation. I've got concentration on the x-axis. I have my cell viability expressed as a percent of the control because I took those raw data OD values and normalized them against the vehicle controls. I have also averaged the EC50 values. Here I've tested 2 molecules, alectinib and ChEMBL099 in my cell viability assay. I am pulling data from one of these runs, actually from today's run. I've tested it against 2 different cell lines, the H3122 and the H2228. The H228 you see in gold, the H3122 you see in blue. It stays consistent across the different molecules that are tested. That's part of our color logic. So we'll remain consistent for the conditions. If no conditions exist, they will remain consistent across runs. Now I'd be interested to overlay the two graphs. So I'll pick on that first graph for alectinib. And what we are going to do is click onto the plus sign to add a plot overlay. I want 1602 to overlay on top of this curve. Now I'm going to go ahead and launch the plot. Now I've got the two different molecules tested against the two different cell lines. But what if I only want to see H3122? So here I'm going to carousel to the next curve over, which is my H228 cells. And let's go ahead and hide this curve. Now I'll move on to the third one. This is in blue, but I do want to differentiate that now I'm looking at 1602 rather than 1607. So let's color this red and change this from circle to square. And let's go to that last plot to hide that curve. Here, I'm going to click on that cog setting or cog wheel. If now I'm looking at summary curves, if I want to look at the replicate curves, I can uncheck that box. And what I'm looking at right now is not only those two molecules and those two molecules tested against two different cell lines, but I'm also looking at data tested across two different runs, knowing that this is all the data that's available for these protocols. Let's go ahead and change it back to summary curves. Let's hide the intercepts. I have my whiskers. I'm showing the whiskers as it tracks with the standard error mean. I can also do this for standard deviation. Let's go ahead and now click onto PNG. And what I'd like to do is give this plot a title. So we'll call it my ALK positive H3122 cell viability. I've got concentration, that's right on the x-axis. Cell viability as a % of control. I find this to be redundant, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. I want to include the structure, the molecule. I can disregard batch, at least for right now. I've got protocol conditions, so I want to look at that cell line or not, because I already have it in the plot title, so let's ignore that. Let's bring in the R-squared value just to see how well this data was fit. And let's go ahead and download that PNG file. And now that we've opened up that PNG file, we have ALK positive H3122 cell viability as the title for our plot that we exported out, along with the molecule structure, the molecule named, the EC50 reported. These are high resolution publication quality images that we can actually put out in our reports. We're now going to head back to CDD Vault, and let's go ahead and take that same visual that we were looking at and show the replicates. This is a way of validating the data as well, taking a look at those different replicate data points. While we may not have access to flag the outliers or edit anything in terms of the curve, because that curve, that data isn't ours to edit, we can still now show the replicates in its view form. Let's take a different approach now to now looking at data. So I am well aware of SHP-099 being involved with two different targets, my ALK positive cells, so my ALK project and my SHP2 project. I've done a search, a synonym search for SHP-099 to pull in that compound. I don't know what data I have available for it, but I'll go ahead and show all protocol data. When I do that, my cell viability assay does come up. We should now be familiar with this assay, having just dealt with that data. I also have PTP assay here, so my phosphatase assay, now looking at the SHP2 full length wild type as well as its mutants. And I am looking at something that is ubiquitously expressed as opposed to that ALK positive only found in lung cancer cells as a way to target lung cancer. Here, I'll go ahead and click into this plot to now overlay, now taking that different approach to overlay to different protocols to look at the synergistic effects that SHP-099 will play on those two different targets. So again, here I'll go through, create a plot legend here. As I do that, I'm going to want to enter a plot title because I am now looking at the two pieces of data, the ALK positive cell viability assay with the PTP inhibition assay. I've got concentration on my x-axis, which is common in both. Now I've got my ALK positive cell viability is a percent control, or here I also have my PTP percent inhibition on the x-axis. What am I interested in now pulling into this plot that I now export? I want the molecule, I want the protocol, not necessarily the run, batch information, protocol condition as I look at those different mutants, the EC50, so that comes from my cell viability assay. So why don't I go ahead and type in cell viability in here, cell viability EC50, as well as now the IC50 that comes from that PTP assay. So PTP IC50. And I thought it necessary in my analysis to also look at the absolute IC50, which is also now available as part of the plot analysis. Okay, so we'll go ahead and download that PNG file and save that. And now here we have our exported PNG file of that data. All right, so now we'll tie everything up. Let's go back and let's talk about, what we can summarize. As you can hopefully see and gather from what I went over, you can use a growing library of curve-fitting algorithms to analyze stored data in our multi-modal platform without the need to access or subscribe to other software. 2, you can communicate data in your analyses, build reports for yourself or others with the raw data stored within CDD Vault. And finally, make CDD Vault that single platform to work with, from data collection to data collaboration to data reporting to publish your story. At the end of the day, when we think about our roles, we all take on some piece, call it what you will, piece of the pie or a piece of the puzzle. And in order to make the story whole, we need to have all the pieces come together. In order for others to trust that story, we need to have the ability to return to the original and raw data source. All right. That's all for curves. If you'd like a personalized demo for your team in science, make sure to vote on the poll at the end of this webinar. Next up, we're going to introduce you to CDD's AI.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Garlinghouse. I am a business development director at CDD, supporting our customers in Asia. Today, I'm excited to be with you to introduce our AI module, which can help you to accelerate your drug discovery by enhancing speed, accuracy, and efficiency. Our AI module creates a strong data foundation within CDD Vault, allowing users to harness advanced AI capabilities in a secure environment. Let me quickly highlight some of the benefits of what makes it so powerful, and then hand over to my colleague, Susanna Tomasio, who will demonstrate some of this functionality. First, the AI module delivers increased efficiency. Our AI algorithms speed up research and analysis dramatically, processing vast amounts of data for you quickly. Second, it provides enhanced precision. We provide more accurate predictions and optimized formulations, reducing late-stage failures and the related costs of those. Third, it delivers data-driven insights. Our AI uncovers patterns in large data sets, potentially revealing new drug candidates and mechanisms. The module's key capabilities include fast AI-powered searching, which allows users to explore compounds and patents within ChEMBL, SureCHEMBL, Enamine, and CDD Public datasets. It provides bioisosteric suggestions with ideas for enhanced potency and helping to improve pharmacokinetics of your lead compounds. It provides computer-aided design, helping you to rapidly search for and group similar structures. It also provides property predictions, which gives users access to machine learning models for log-P, log-D, and pKa predictions. Finally, it provides AI-ready data, which helps you to create standardized metadata-enriched data ready for AI analysis. All the cool kids are talking about AI these days. What sets ours apart is our focus on synthesizable molecules and our comprehensive patent database search capabilities. This ensures you're working with viable candidates and can easily evaluate the novelty of your structures. Moreover, we offer API access to our deep learning technology, allowing you to integrate our AI capabilities into your own workflows and build custom predictive models. In essence, our AI module is designed to streamline your processes, enhance your insights, and accelerate your path to breakthrough discoveries. Now, I'll hand it over to Susanna for a live demonstration of these features. Susanna, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susanna Tomasio. I'm a senior application scientist at CDD, and today I will be showing you our new deep learning AI module available in CDD Vault. The starting point of this approach was to set up a deep learning network called autoencoder, which comprises two networks. The first one transforms a molecular structure into a vector of real numbers. This is called a chemically rich vector or latent vector in the deep learning literature. And this is done using graph convolutional networks. The latent vector is independent of how the chemical structure is defined or the order of the atoms. Then a complementary network called decoder uses a generative model to transform the latent vector back to the starting molecular representation, in this case, smiles. And the combination of these encoder, the CRV, and decoder comprise the autoencoder. And this network was then trained on many examples of molecules from ChEMBL with the goal that the output of the autoencoder should be nearly identical to the input. So what can we achieve with this, or what can we do with this? There are several applications. One, it can be used for similarity, and that's what we see here in the solid colors on the left-hand side. So in this case, only the left-hand side of the model is being used. We create a numerical representation of a molecule, we store it as a vector database, and then we are able to perform a similarity search against that. In the evaluation studies, it was shown that the latent space of this numerical representation encodes structural information for the molecules very well. It was also possible to show that the similarity in this numerical space is similar to other structural similarity measurements, such as the Morgan 2 fingerprints, for instance. But there are also some differences, and therefore it's a complementary approach. How was it implemented in CDD Vault? Well, by having a latent vector database of compounds from different public databases, such as ChEMBL, SureCHEMBL, CDD Public data in Enamine Screening collection, then from the CDD Vault molecule page, you can simply click in Find ChEMBL, patented and commercial molecules using deep learning similarity, and it searches these databases in a secure way. The advantage is that your structure does not go out of CDD Vault, and then you get the similar structures along with its chemical properties. The known structures will have an ID with the link, which you can click and go out to ChEMBL to find out more information about these structures.
Another application of this deep learning AI module is to use the numerical representation to replace parts of the molecule. When you have a structure or a hit, you can create a few ideas around it by swapping out fragments with similar fragments that have a similar numerical representation. The advantage is that it creates structures that are more closely related to what you already have, and therefore you won't be overwhelmed with structures that may not be synthesizable. This gives users ideas of what they can synthesize next. In this case, the reference structure is broken down into fragments using predefined retrosynthetic rules using the bricks method. Then a numerical representation of these fragments is derived using the CDD deep learning model and compares the numerical representations with a large library of fragments found in ChEMBL, and the model suggests bioisosteric replacements. Again, this is also integrated in CDD Vault, and it's accessible from the molecule page. You can simply click the link Suggest Bioisosterics using deep learning similarity to see what results you get from your hit. You also get the synthetic accessibility score, which evaluates how easily a molecule can be synthesized based on the frequency of its structural fragments in the ChEMBL database. It uses circular substructures such as Morgan2 or ECFP4 and counts the number of fragments that are uncommon in ChEMBL. Therefore, a higher score indicates the presence of unusual fragments, suggesting that the molecule may be difficult to synthesize. So all of these functionalities are currently available in the CDD Vault interface. However, we do have another functionality which is currently available only via the API, and therefore it may be more suitable for computational chemists. And this is the ability to build QSAR models. You can upload a SAR dataset, and graph convolutional networks will create the features, the latent vectors, and then it will build a QSAR model. Another interesting application is for inverse QSAR. The idea is if we start building a model, and if we have a structure and a solubility model, for example, we can then modify this numerical representation of the molecule to optimize the solubility. And because the generative model is coupled with the numerical representation model, we can create the structure that is represented by this numerical representation. The idea with inverse QSAR is, do I need to change my numerical representation in order to improve the activity or to improve solubility? And this is currently available through the API and is currently also being further explored. And now, since the generative model can create the structural representation from a latent vector, then by optimizing the latent vector with a predictive model, it can generate novel structures around the optimized latent vector. This is currently being investigated using transformational vectors. Another application that is currently being studied is that we can represent the SAR space in 2D using the latent vectors. And therefore, then we can find the regions of high activity and reverse it back to the structure. So this is it for the deep learning model. Now switching gears into the Vault. This is available from the molecule page. If you have a hit, you can simply click in Find ChEMBL, patented and commercial molecules using the deep learning similarity. And as you can see, the search is very fast, and it will show the number of hits that you requested from the settings, and it will show here also with the available similarity score. All of these hits can be downloaded. You can also take these into visualization, and you can also group by scaffold. You can also, in the similarity settings tab, choose how many hits you want to get per collection and which properties you want to see in the table. Similarly, for the bioisosterics, you can click the button to suggest bioisosterics, and as you can see, this is a very fast and it provides different suggestions for the different groups. And that's it for the AI module. If you'd like a personalized demo for your team, please vote on the poll at the end of this webinar. Finally, I am happy to announce that a CDD AI support chatbot have been added to CDD Vault. So it's here at the top right corner of the application. When you log in into CDD Vault, you are able to click this AI chat button, and this tool is trained on the CDD Vault knowledge base and provides immediate responses to basic support inquiries. Of course, that the support team continues to be available for the cases where a quick answer from the AI chatbot isn't enough. And that's it from me.
Thank you for a great demonstration of our enhanced platform features, and a big thank you to all of our speakers today for their excellent presentations on our latest updates to Curves and AI. I'd also like to thank the audience for your attention and engagement throughout this webinar, because your interest and participation are what drive us to continuously improve our products. So before we move on to our Q&A session, I'd like to quickly draw your attention to a poll that's now appearing on your screen. If any of these module add-ons we've discussed today look interesting to you, please take a moment to vote. You can indicate whether you'd like a customized demo, or if you'd prefer us to send you some resources to learn more about these module add-ons. Your feedback here will help us tailor our follow-up to best meet your needs. So now let's transition to our Q&A panel. We've received some great questions in the Q&A box throughout the presentation, and we're excited to address them. So for those who haven't had a chance to ask questions yet, feel free to submit them now in the Q&A tab. So we're going to do our best to answer as many as possible in the time we have remaining. Let's begin with our first question.